Genesis. Briggy and Genesis. Briggy and Genesis. Briggy and Genesis. Briggy and Genesis. Rude Radio Man, what's up? The one called Briggy mashes it up. Genesis Radio playing the fresh cuts. 91.6. No mindless gun tunes and no slackness. You tune into the show. 1223, Briggy slinging the death blows. Reception crystal clear. Briggy and Genesis ruling the air. Briggy and Genesis
to destroy Farrakhan in the nation of Islam. Right now, they want Farrakhan dead, not alive. If they come against the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, they better come right. They're coming out these days.
ruling the air. 91.6.
Because we know it's possible.
91.6.
Right now, they're preparing to destroy Farrakhan in the nation of Islam. Farrakhan dead, not alive. They want Farrakhan dead, not alive. Even they have no more how to low down you up. Even they have no more how to low down you up.
Briggy and Genesis ruling the air.
Yo, this is Daddy Freddy speaking on behalf of OG Briggy. And said that we're in the city, we don't have no pity. Boy, ever trip him to speak to the Gaza Strip. No playtime no more, Brad boy. Then when I tell him,
Over and over again, I tell you people it can't end. When it comes to consciousness, me I don't tell you say a Briggy, so what? Keep it on this station and don't move the dial all night long.
Yeah, well, this is a controversial message from OG Briggy. To all the youth, them meditation. To all the youth, them medication. Sure. We must confess this. Certain allegation meant we have to distress this. To the members of parliament, we address this. This is the first part of the poetic justice. Briggy say, we must confess this. Yeah, confession time.
You're tuning in to OG Briggy with the Regeneration Show on Genesis 91.6 FM. Don't touch that dial. Philip Leo says so.
This is the Regeneration Show Progress Chart. With you, the community.
How has the Regeneration Show affected you?
Well, I used to do devilish things on the street in front of anybody, woman, man or child. I didn't care. But now, due to Briggy's Regeneration Show, I'm forced to be a devil behind closed doors.
And what has the Regeneration Show done for you, sir?
Well, me used to refuse to Selassie I was God, but now me know the truth. You get me?
Has the Regeneration Show done anything for your life, sir?
Has it done anything for my life? It teach me not to sell my brothers and sisters for pots and pans, never to sell out and know that the God is within me.
And what about you, sir?
Well, let me tell you this, mate. Because of that Briggy and that Regeneration Show, I can't get me National Front, BNP, racist boots stuck into any blackie or backie.
And what about you two, please, sir?
I am Indo, but on today's Allah. I come all the way from Calcutta. Come to England and listen to Regeneration Show with Briggy. They top it up my eyes. Very.
You over there, what do you have to say about the Regeneration?
Well, first of all, Briggy, I'm a brethren, and I think that the Regeneration Show is the most positive radio show on the radio today, giving black and white nations the truth from a black perspective, basically.
London, what is the Black Spiritual Men and Physical Regeneration Show doing for you?
God Squad.
Okay, London Town, welcome to the Black Spiritual Mental Physical Regeneration Show, Genesis 91.6 on your FM dial, London Town, the baddest station in England, okay? Anyway, how are you doing, London Town? Driver, turn on the telly, man. Okay, London Town, you know, we got luxuries still in there, you know, in that Gertie, and drivers just playing around. Anyway, London Town, how are you doing? We're doing fine, Briggy. Yes, I hope that you really are, London Town, yeah? Just relax once again tonight. And just chill out with me right to the hours of 1 o'clock. We should be joined by the RB, yeah? Anyway, just want to send quick shouts out to North, East, South, West London crew, the brothers and sisters them locked down in the jails around London Town, all up on the head, and all the brothers and sisters them around in the suburbs, yeah? Metro Love Posse, Wally Top, bad boy sign, yeah? And watch out for the Metro Love crew them 98, 99. It's all over, cheese. Okay, Metro Love crew all up your head. Also, Sister Louise, Okay, my voice is getting there. Sister Louise, enough respect for phoning in yesterday on Metro Love Show, yeah. You know, every time when we get feedback, it's all good still, yeah. So enough respect, girl, yeah. Mr. Sharte, sorry I couldn't attend the birthday bash, but Driver is just so excited. When I saw Driver today, big excitement coming from him, so I know that the dance was good, yeah. And all the Genesis crew was down there yesterday. Enough respect, Scratch Master D, Tony P, also Tony T, also the X-Ray, also the brothers them by nature. Boy, you want to finish off with me, Driver?
Oh gosh. No.
Poor Driver, I'm tired. Fair player. Driver West. Daddy French, the den of the O's. Mr. Spain. Chris Fox. The rude boy, Chris Fox, bad boy, the soul and thing. Yeah. Senator B, you can't leave what Senator B, you know, after the People's Talk Show, bad boy Senator B is smashing up with the beer conscious reggae music, okay? Just respect to all the masses and all the sisters them and the brothers, okay, who turn up. Maxi B, Be Nice, Sister Slash, Sakuti, Imani. Listen, all the beautiful sisters on Genesis Radio, yeah. All of the man them too. All the gods and all the goddesses and all the gods and goddesses out there, yeah. Anyway, another time. Gosh, you know what I'm saying? Boy, Briggy, man, sometimes, man, your intro, man, is just long. But you know, God, G, all good things comes to those who wait, okay? Anyway, Driver, you have to say welcome proper to London, so, man.
Yes, good evening, London town. Once again, we've got to say welcome. Enough respect for all of those locked in continuously, you know, on the weekend for the Genesis 91.6. You're in tune to the Regeneration Show. And, you know, sir, like the OG said, right now we're dealing with some feedback time, cause, you know, so we need to know from the people then what's really going on in your mind. Any questions on, you know, most things that's going around, because, you know, we can get deep or we can just do it on a basic scale. It's down to you, London town. It's all information at the end of the day, because each one to teach one. You know that guy already? OG?
Most definitely, Driver. You know, we don't mind how it goes, rough or smooth at the end of the day, London town, yeah. It's all information. Boy, it's this flew out from last week in London town, just brushing it off now, you know. And some little discrepancies left in my voice box, but you know, it's have to come out still. Anyway, Louis said that boy should just wait to hear my voice still. Is my voice that good, London town? Damn, G. Long intro. Okay, anyway, London town, I'm gonna get with the show, get on with that show. Okay, London town, yeah. Basically, these shows, what we're doing from now on is just basically called feedback. So what I do basically, yeah, I push a session in basically London town, yeah. When the session done, we just want to hear feedback straight away, basically afterwards, yeah, because we know the bus system out there is intelligent. Basically, any white people out there want to phone in, any Caucasians here, just call in. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you know we ain't doing no racism at the end of the day. You can call in with us, deal with direct facts, okay? And you just cannot run from that, okay? Anyway, London, England, we's doing what we's just best, Driver, and that's rolling. Okay, London town, catch up in a little while, yeah? Peace.
God Squad.
9216. 91.6 FM.
Vincent Rat, bigging up Briggy on Genesis 91.6. Big him up.
Yo, what's up? This Wyclef and you listening to Briggy on Genesis Radio. Say what?
Yeah, this is Omar bigging up Briggy on Genesis Radio.
Oh no! Well, this is Red Hot, and I have to big up Briggy on Genesis Radio. Yeah, me go and walk them mute.
This is the original Borough Bantan bigging up OG Briggy on Genesis Radio, London. Big up.
Busta Rhymes, Flip Mode Squad, and a place to be. Bigging up my man Briggy on Genesis Radio and all of that.
Yo, what up? This is Prize from the Refugee All-Stars representing the Flatbush crew and my man Briggy from Genesis Radio. You know what I'm saying? One time, come down with the dub.
The massive know this is Peter Metro. Bigging up OG Briggy on Genesis Radio Station. And me, man, Mr. Metro, live from Jamaica.
Peace and love, this is John Forte from Refugee Camp The Fugees, chilling with OG Briggy from Genesis Radio. Act like you know, daddy boy.
Yeah, this is Big T, bigging up the OG Briggy, who's exposing all those frauds who cannot answer simplest of simple common sense questions, which they foam at the mouth, and quick to anger to answer. You're getting the fight down. That proves that you're doing something right. You're right on time, G.
Yeah, this is Liquor John, bigging up OG Briggy and Genesis Radio. Respect.
Okay, London Time, can't forget to give a shout to the one and only Big T, also the Grand Lucia, anywhere in the den of the capital. God's all up on the head. Also, a shout out to Brother Donovan who tuned into last week's show. Anyway, London Time, you got the live lit number, London Time is 0705 0087426. Yes, 0705 87426. Okay, London Time here. And we're going to be juggling for a little while. What I'm going to do, London Time, in fact, is, because last week I started off, the second tape I played was on Melanin by Dr. Small, yeah? And basically, I was getting a bit of feedback when I left the studio. Bumsters sent to me that they would have liked to have heard the rest of the tape play still, yeah? So what I'm going to do, London Time, yeah, I'm going to just run that for now, yeah, London Time, yeah? And then let's say in about, 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to open the live link, basically, London Time. Just want to hear feedback, yeah? Whether it's black, white, Indian, Chinaman, anything, just phone through. You know what I'm saying? To deal with Genesis International Universal.
It wouldn't do what it was designed to do. It would be deformed or cancerous or something else, defamating to it. But if those little cells got confused on their signal and decide to separate a milliliter, do you know what will happen to that hand? It will become invisible because you cannot see cells with the bare eyes if they're individuals. You only see them because they are a collective body. And the black people are kind of like that. We have broken up into these little individual
to the community to provide lectures of this kind on our history and our culture. So the University of Life series is committed to re-educating our people about their great legacy. I'm Professor James Small. He is the president of the Eastern Region in New York City of ASCAT. I mentioned this group to you before because we have Sister Joan Lyons here, who is part of the Queen Study ASCAT group. He is also professor of Africana Studies at City College. He is a former minister of a Muslim mosque which was founded by Malcolm X. And he was one of the first student leaders to initiate a Black Studies department, or I should say Black Studies department in City University. And as a result of this, this movement grew out into other places throughout the United States. So we are very fortunate to have Professor James Small from City College. Are you ready, Professor Small? Okay. We'll put our hands together for Professor Small, please.
Thank you, Sister Diane. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, but I'm Dr. Jeffrey's student, and had my boss been here, you'd be waiting another half hour. But today I hold classes on holidays, and my students are compelled to come to my classes on holidays. Some people think that rather cruel, but I don't give my students written exams. And so my position, if we don't have exams, we have to develop another way of learning. And part of that learning is that we will be together every single weekend throughout the semester. And that's a 3-credit course. It's called Religion and Survival. Everybody in my class get an A. coming into class. And you have to do two things to maintain that A. You have to maintain attendance, except when you're ill or family crisis, then you must call me in advance or immediately thereafter. And you must write an analytical essay on every lecture every week and put it in your folder. And as the folder grows, your A gets more secure. If you start getting a thin folder, your A gets less security. If you are absent, your A gets even less security. And today we were discussing secret societies and Freemasonry and other like institutions and their role in the black community. So it got a little warm because I had some invited guests from the Israelite community, from the Masonic Lodge, and from the mosque. But it was very interesting. So the class ran from 9 until 1. Usually it's supposed to end at 11:40, but the students don't leave my class. And so they stay on their own. I don't force them to stay either. And so we really got seriously into that, and then I didn't know my way out here, but Sister Carolyn helped me very much. We took the train. I'm going to try to do justice to this topic to deal with two things today, a lot, I suppose, on melanin. Now, I take a rather scientific approach to this melanin thing. There have been a lot of confusion about it. There's a lot of fear about it. Black people have a lot of fear about it. Sister Alison Sanford, I see sitting here, the world is jumping all over the sister because she told a fundamental truth. People didn't understand the truth, and they tried their best to keep you from knowing that truth by trying to attack Sister Sanford and said she was defaming black people and so forth. Because her statement was that our people are most susceptible to becoming addicted to certain narcotics like heroin and like cocaine because the molecular structure of aspects of those narcotics is the same or similar to the molecular structure of melanin. So it's like when we see those molecules walking into our system, they look like a friend, they look like a brother, they look like a sister, so we bond with it, we get close to it quickly because they look like something and they feel like something that is close to us. And what most people don't know, then, most of the substance that we get artificially to intoxicate us is also manufactured in the human body in smaller quantities over longer periods of time. So it recognizes those things as being normal parts of itself. The problem is we take them in doses that is abnormal, and it causes us harm. And so because these people have concocted something called crack and now something called ice, and make no bones about it, the government of the United States created crack, not the Medellin cartel. All the Medellin cartel do is provide some of the base cocaine for it, what little cocaine there is in it. This government provides the chemical to process that cocaine, and this government came up with a formula to create something that has a peculiar relationship to us, to create a drug that our system will have friendly relationships with. And so we get attached to this thing very quickly and don't understand why. It should be called a black designer drug, because that's exactly what it is. And if you really, as I look around this center and see all this blackness, if this is real, and as I see the way you're dressed, and the fact that you are here on this day waiting, this is a Saturday afternoon, it means that you have a certain amount of very deep commitment already to this question of our Africanness. So you know that we don't have any friends in the government of the United States except a few people of our own race, very few of them, because so many of them are uneducated, and maybe a few whites who, for whatever reason, can exercise some humanity beyond what they were socialized into. But generally speaking, this has not been a friendly state to African people. The governments of the United States have not been friendly governments to African people, and the exercise in Teaneck last week and this weekend should tell you even today it is not a friendly government to African people. And so we have to begin to learn to accept the truth about our situation if we're going to really cause changes to come in our situation. Now, a lot of people have been trying to bring the question of melanin to you. Next week we'll have a conference out in Texas to discuss melanin. Most of us are just beginning to truly understand it. There's a lot of written material on it. There's thousands and thousands of pages written on melanin in all sorts of reports, the Barr reports, the one coming out of Sweden. Some of those things are this thick. Most of them are very scientifically done. They're written for doctors and physicians who understand that vocabulary. And the references show that they've been doing this research for almost as long as we know, when you can list something close to 2,000 references in one document. And then somebody has been doing a lot of research on something that has very little to do with them. Okay? They have no visible melanin to talk about except in their hair, and the only other melanin of any significance to them is the one in their internal system. Now, we know we are concerned with two main centers of melanin, the epidermal melanin, which is the skin, and the neuromelanin, which is your nervous system and the human brain, and then what this thing called melanin does. First, as Dr. King has taught us in his writings 1, 2, and 3 on the black dot, that when the human sperm and the human egg come together, at that moment where the agreement is made that there will be union, that it explodes into a black glob. And he's calling that black glob melanin. And out of that black glob comes the formation of the human brain and the human spinal cord, and then everything else proceeds from there. Now, the melanin is manufactured in the human brain at the center of the brain in the place that we call the pineal gland. In African people, that gland is pretty much functional. In Europeans, it is calcified. Now, another position that's got to be made clear so you understand. Myself and others, following the lead of Diop and the information that's available, do not see Europeans or Asians as another race. This whole thing about race is really just a diffusion on the part of the European element of the human race so that they might, from their inferior position, keep control by causing others to feel inferior through their methods of control. That we see the Europeans as being Africans that have mutated into a deficient biological form. And you know, when you say that, you got to put it in a context, because people say, well, that's pretty racist, Brother Small. That's Shockley or Jensen. But their science and their biology and their chemistry substantiate this statement, that the mutation that took place was necessary, and that some Africans who left home some centuries ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, in the form of the man we call the Grimaldi, that's the last black man found in Europe. Now, and that's also the oldest man found in Europe. The oldest skeleton remains in Europe is called the Grimaldi. That man is black and woman. And this is before the Ice Age. After the Ice Age, we began to find the one that they call the Neanderthal. We began to find the mutated man. We began to find one that has not only, we think of pigmentation or melanin only in terms of skin color, but that's the least of what melanin is about. The skin color is the result of a fluid that's constant, that's always coming there, because you're losing it all the time, so you have to replenish it all the time. And it's simply a sun shield in the case where it's at the epidermal level. That's the one that, when you mention melanin, they say pigmentation almost automatically when you're talking to white commentators, or they say skin color almost automatically. But that's not exactly what black people are talking about with the discussion on melanin, which I'll try to get into more deeply. But this African trapped in the ice that mutates out of necessity, because one of the features of an ice age is a constant cloud cover, where the cloud becomes frozen, where you have a cloud cover not for a day, not for a week, not for a year, but try having almost a perpetual cloud cover for 90 90,000 years, where the cloud itself is ice. And then you'd have some idea of what's happening in the ice age in terms of the blocking of the rays of the sun. Try having a sheet of ice covering the earth for 90,000 years, where little or no vegetation is getting through for you to get the vitamins necessary to sustain yourself. Try and be caught in a climate not like the Eskimos, where you did have major oceans where you can extract fish and get the vitamin D necessary to keep your skeletal structure strong to hold up your muscular system. And be caught in Central Europe, where there is no river, where you can't get to any fish, where you can't get the fish oil to give you the vitamin D, and the only way to make vitamin D is to convert sunlight into vitamin D. What happens at that point, if you have this cloud cover, and if you don't have other vegetation and very little access to other types of meat occurring in your ecology, you would have to do what the Africans they did. They mutated. And they grew a bony substance, which we are calling calcium, over the pineal gland, reducing its ability to create epidermal pigment, and in turn reducing its ability to do a number of other functions that is necessary, which I'll mention. And in doing so, the purpose is, we block out a lot of rays that are negative or damaging to us because of the shield. While we absorb what we need, there's certain rays that are very harmful that we block out. Europeans can't block these rays out, so they're more susceptible to skin cancer than we are. And so what happened when they needed to absorb more of this ray, they had to get rid of this that was blocking out the little bit of rays that was coming through, so that that ray can be absorbed and turned into kind of energy necessary to produce the vitamin D necessary for them to keep a skeletal structure that could support the muscular structure that was on the human being. And in the process of this taking place, a number of other things took place. The lack of meat ought to be obvious when we think of being in an ice age. The lack of vegetables ought to be obvious. So you'll see two social phenomena as a result of this being trapped in the ice age. Now, you'll see one in almost every, is universal in European cultures, the disposing of elderly and the disregard and disrespect of women. When we look at the Greek and the Spartan culture, we'll see that women were pruned out of the society, that they kept only what they needed. Pruning means killing. That's a nice term for killing the female off while they're babies. You see that in much, much later time in the Arab culture, where the baby girls were buried alive. This is pre-Islamic Arab culture. They wanted the male children to do the work. What occurred in the context of this type of behavior is a special and peculiar kind of love of men by men. It gets translated today in our society as homosexuality. But this love of men by men and things male by men began to form the basis for that culture that comes out of Europe. One of the things that the French, and this was in Harmony magazine, anthropologists, archaeologists, and paleontologists doing searches around the cave, especially around that exhibit of the whites, and that whole cave exhibit they had at the Metropolitan trying to justify themselves. They found that much of the bones that was found around the dwellings had human teeth marks and gnaw marks on them. Also, most of the bones that had the human gnawing and teeth marks on them were human bones. And so the only thing that one could conclude, caught in a situation with a lack of meat, caught in a situation with a lack of vegetable, that maybe what we're seeing, this anti-woman behavior, this anti-elderly behavior, occurred when one had to take the weakest of the group, which was the woman and the elderly, and prepare them for their meals. Now, this is not being crude or rude. This is just trying to explain, because somehow we don't like to accept the truth about other people, no matter how damaging the relationship has been or is currently between us and the other people. We don't want to understand why it's damaging, and it is very damaging. And the reason I'm making clear that I consider the white man to be an African who have mutated into a very ill being is because it's the only truth that could exist. If you're a Christian, you've got to accept that as the only fundamental truth, because it said there was an Adam and Eve, one man, one woman. If you're a Muslim, it says that God created one. If you're a Jew, it says that God created one. If you're a Buddhist, all of the creation stories said there was just one human creation, and all of us are the result of that one human creation. So if we just look at it theologically, we must argue that everybody is from one race. If we look at it scientifically, it'll tell you that 6 men were peculiar to the earth. The 6 are found only in Africa. 3 is found to have left Africa, while 3 evolved and disappeared without ever leaving Africa. So that 3 that falls under what they call the Australopithecine group, those 3 never left Africa. The last 3, Homo erectus, Homo sapien sapien, left Africa at different times, going and populating the rest of the world, and did not leave Africa until they could be found in Africa for nearly 1 million years before they found any place else. So it says that African people are the beginning. We are the base stock out of which everything else is made. And it's also been proven in terms of the genetic research at the University of Hawaii, Berkeley, and Oxford and London, that only the black women who we call the Khoi people, who some call the Hottentot bush women and men, are the only one with the DNA, RNA, and they do not say the melanin to create everybody else. So that's not even a discussion anymore, that we are the Genesis, and that in any theological stories around Garden of Eden, that had to be Africa. And since those things are constant, because if you read the Bible correctly, you'll see the river Gellhorn and so forth, and you realize that the river they're talking about is down there in Ethiopia, and in order for a garden to exist, it had to be about where Sudan and Egypt border meets now, in the center of the garden. So we can substantiate who we are now with minimal study. And we could substantiate that we are the first, and we could substantiate through science, paleontology, anthropology, archaeology, genealogy, that all of the early people were in Africa. And then we have to find out why there is this other creature, the European and the Asian, or the Eurasian peoples, who behave as they do, who are anti-nature in their behavior. And you won't understand really what melanin means to us unless you understand what not having it means to them. See? And these people who had to give up their melanin and who had to go to war against nature. And you've got to understand, if you understand God, if you go to war against nature and you go to war against all that is created in nature, you have gone to war against God itself. And that's what we really face with. And what happens when we try to acculturate into these people, we don't understand, but we must then accept a value system and a culture that is anti-God itself, and we begin to fight against the principles of God, calling it integration or amalgamation. But we've got to understand what it is we're integrating into, amalgamating into, and we're amalgamating into a perspective on the world that is based, or that is coming out of a deficient model of the human being. And that deficient model have defined our reality as we know it in the context of Western civilization. Its deficiency is rooted in the lack of melanin in its psyche. Now, this thing that we call melanin is a chemical, and it's produced 24 hours a day. At night, it produced something called melatonin, and then during the day, it produced something called serotonin, or vice versa. You know, most people don't realize white people do not dream in color. They can only dream in black and white, like a transparent, what do you call the thing? Picture. Negative. That's how they dream. We dream in color, with actual forms and shapes like human beings. Now, this information I got from Dr. King and other black psychiatrists and psychologists who do this kind of research and who work with people on this. And you can't dream in color if color isn't a part of your essence. This thing that we call melanin is the thing that fine-tunes our nervous system. It's the final tuner. There's an aspect of this chemical and the enzymes that it creates that they call a free radical. And what it does, the melanin goes around your body and tells all the other molecules what to do the way it was designed to do it. You understand? If I've got some molecules in my hand, in my fingers, they're supposed to be finger molecules. Now you stick it on a microscope, they look just like the one from my forearm or from my back, but they're not the same. This one has specific orders to function for the purpose of the creation of my finger. This one has specific orders to function for the purpose of the creation of my shoulder. Now, unless there's something telling them what to do specifically,
for the best in all name brand designer wear, it has to be Cactus Clothing. Now open. Specializing in men and women New York and European designer collection. Also supplying New York and JA mixed juggling tapes. Cactus Clothing. Situated at Unit 9, Trading Places Arcade, Bedford Market, SE14 off Blue Cross Road. So all the Bashman crew, them, you know you're welcome. Major ticket outlets as well. Yes, it's got to be Cactus Clothing.
Hear this. Gateman and Brains present the most talk about end of month jam. It's the old school jam. This is taking place each and every last Saturday of every month at the Peaches Club and Restaurant, 143 New Cross Road, London, SE14, next to the Aces Cap office. For your musical pleasure of the night, you got from Power Jam, Dizzy D, the Mad Cabbage Man, Sir Lloyd. Also from Vibes FM, you got Lady G, the Specials. From Genesis Radio, you got Mr. Bantam. Doors 10 p.m. until later. Ticket £7 in advance, £10 on the door. For your ticket outlet, Supertone Records, Acre Lane, Maestro Records, Rye Lane, Honeypot Restaurant, Upper Berkeley Road, Sound City Records, New Cross Road, or any of the DJ on the bill. So don't miss it. It's gonna be wackered. It's the old school jam once again.
Calling all Nubian sisters. The new millennium is fast and approaching. How shall we prepare the Nubian nation contribute towards making black society better? To find out more, come and be inspired, entertained and educated at the Sister Sister Workshop, 138 Lucian Way Youth and Community Centre, Lucian SE14, from 6 p.m. till late on the last Sunday of each month. Admission £2, videos to be shown and books to be purchased. Creche and refreshments available. Our aims are for the Nubian woman to promote and maintain the right knowledge for herself and her family. Our objectives to achieve self-awareness and positivity and to spread the word. For more information, contact Miss Lil at the Lucian Way Centre on 0181 692 1577. This is a non-profit making organisation.
Got to keep your head up.
This is a Genesis community advert. Are you satisfied with your child's education? If not, then why not send them down to the Ebony Saturday School, now celebrating its 10th year. Ebony Saturday School provides a small group tuition in mathematics and English for children from 3 to 16 years. It also provides diagnostic assessment, dance and drama workshops, preschool workshops and Black History classes, all taught by trained and dedicated teachers. Ebony schools are situated all over South London. To find out the nearest one to you, ring 0181 850 6225. That's 0181 850 6225. Ebony, helping to educate your child. This is Genesis Station, working for the community.
This is Don Luchas, and this is Briggy's Black Spiritual, Mental, and Physical Regeneration Show. Here's an update of some well-known celebrities who all listen and support the Regeneration Show. Warning.
We must remind you, all of these celebrities
For real.
This is Angelo Starr from the Edwin Starr Band, and I listen to Radio Genesis.
Hi, my name is Crystal Ray, and I listen to Briggy on Genesis Radio.
My name is Tony Tucker. When I'm in London, I listen to Briggy. My name is Princess C. Mama, listen out to Briggy. Big shout out to Briggy. You know the Prince is here too.
Yeah, my name is Liz right now, and I listen to Briggy on Genesis Radio.
Hi, I'm Nigel Ben. I listen to Briggy on Genesis.
My name is Anthony Quinn. I listen to Briggy on Genesis Radio. With a great pleasure.
My name Johnny P. Mr. Briggy. On Genesis 91.6.
Hey, make sure you listen to Briggy on 91.6. Message from Gary Mason.
My name is Michael Watson. I listen to Briggy on Genesis.
Keep it locked to a conscious station around town. Genesis, the number one. Keep the unity in the community. Lennox Lewis said that.
The Regeneration Show, touching the hearts and souls of many, but the chosen are few.
Okay, London Town, back on the other side. Well, what happened to this bottom tape there, man? Okay, London Town, what go on? Anyway, London Town, Black Spiritual Mental Physical Regeneration Show. Boy, it's like this person's on this phone line with driver. How long have they been on it? About 15 minutes, poor driver, man. He's working hard. London Town, 0705 008 7426. Okay, if you want to phone in here at the top of the hour, well, at the bottom of the half hour, should I say, yeah. And we're gonna try and get some feedback on this tape here, basically, yeah. Anyway, London Town, you know what's most here for you, Sister Louise, all up your heads today, yeah. All right, we're rolling.
Will have all sorts of mutation and deformation taking place, and if your nervous system is void of this melanin or deficient in it, because everybody has it, even white people have some of it, they just have a deficient, highly deficient level of it. And what you see in their community, nearly all of the neurological diseases can be traced back to them. And you can read this in the Encyclopedia Britannica. Nearly all of the blood diseases and condition that deals with a deficiency in the blood can be traced back to them. Nearly most of the viruses that we now have to reckon with, if you study anthropology and archaeology around viral and bacterial research, you will find that they do not occur in African ecologies and in most Asian ecology, and even in this ecology, until the European made his appearance in those ecology. Then certain viruses and certain bacteria began to occur in those ecology. A good example would be to study what happened to the Native American, and you will see that the Native American, though we see on television the Westman and the cowboy killing all these Indians, that isn't what killed them. The diseases killed the Indians. If they weren't felled by such heavy numbers by smallpox, which came later, and we like to think smallpox really did it. You know what killed off the bulk of the Native Americans in Central, South America, and the Caribbean and the southern United States? The common cold virus, which was not present in this hemisphere before the European. Now, there's about 80 or more common cold viruses. There isn't one single one. That's why they can't find a cure. But it was not present here, and it acted like pneumonia on an organism that had no antibodies to fight it off. Okay? Influenza virus acted the same way. And then the other viruses. And of course they brought the syphilis and the gonorrhea and the other things that they put on the people through rape and pillage. And there's good documentation for this in their own research. You can read any good book on Columbus and when he returns back to Europe. You know, there was an early dialogue. They were trying to say that the Native American brought syphilis back to Europe, but their encyclopedia and even the New England Journal of Medicine will tell you that syphilis was quite observed and written about by European doctors long before any native people came to Europe by the hands of Columbus. But the point is that this biological deficient body brought about out of the mutation in the ice, because it had to give up this melanin, did not then have the ability to create the kind of internal strength. It could not produce the antibodies that we could do normally. It could not carry out the processes that we can carry out normally. the African body is centered such that this melanin acts almost like when you're in the space. What's the thing that keeps the balance? I'm kind of tired. I was up until 1. What is it called? Yeah, it gives you equilibrium, but they have a thing that keeps the balance. What is it called? Right, it'll come to me. But the melanin is that thing that keeps the balance. When we dance, we think nothing of it, right? We always say black people got rhythm, white people don't have rhythm. Anybody ever wondered why, or what is it that you've got that they don't have, that no matter how much practice, they can't do it? And you can do it with no practice, just hearing the sound. See, because this thing called melanin, because it is one of the chemicals in the human body that tells everything else what to do, it then tunes you, because the human body is something people don't like to talk about. They call it metaphysics when you start talking about African science. And then in this culture, when you do that, that dismiss it as invalid. And then people don't pay attention to it, yet they'll do all kinds of other foolish things that they call science. The human body, from the African perspective, has every single element that everything in nature has, in that we contain the total nature within ourselves. And that was something we discovered very early in our earlier sciences, that this thing, and I know I've got a few brothers and sisters in here from the secret societies, right? Just says, so everybody humming. I know somebody's humming, right? So we know that the people that run the world, and we know that the elite of the black community is an elite that is struggling to do what? To construct the perfect temple. To construct the perfect temple. To build the grand lodge, one might say. And the lay who don't know no better wait for this building to come up made out of brick and mortar. And some foolish ones do build grand buildings out of brick and mortar. But what these societies of secrets throughout Africa and then later throughout Europe, thanks to us and America, what they're trying to do is to reconstruct the perfect man or woman in line with what ancient African tradition the sort of a gleaning of all of the traditions of Africa. And this temple they're trying to reconstruct is first of all the human consciousness along the correct ethical, moral lines, then the human body as a result of being properly oriented in the psyche, you can then construct the body, and then the family, and as constructing a good correctly formed family, you can then construct a correctly formed community. And then that is the great temple that everyone's supposed to be building. Now, in order to have such a concept, you have to then presume, and that temple, by the way, is supposed to be a duplicate of the grand temple, God's universe. And so you're struggling to recreate this universe because you have access to the knowledge of these principles. Well, these very principles that people are talking about was derived centuries ago by African physicians through the study of the human body. And they began to understand that we work just like the universe. Our body clock works just like the sun and the moon and the stars, all right? And our body works just like the seasons that occur during the year. And so they began to write down and get an understanding of this. Well, see, this melanin, what we are now trying to put in some scientific framework is what you call soul. You know, when people say you got soul, when they say black people got spirit, that's what you're talking about. The melanin, this, when I have an attitude, for instance, if I came in here and I was all stressed out and all tensed up because I was late and I was anxious because I thought you were going to be upset because I was late, my body would produce certain chemicals that would actually be damaging to my body. If I was relaxed and came in here and said, look, late or no, I'm here when I'm here, I will give you what I've got, my body would produce other chemicals that wouldn't be harmful to my body. You see, we don't understand the degree to which the moods you carry, the degree to which the ethics and the moral you practice determine the behavior of your biology. This way of approaching things is something they don't want you to really understand and approach in that way. This melanin factor that you have, this chemical that tries to direct this system in the way the first designer of the system say the system was to be directed, meaning the way God said the system was to function. This melanin, this thing that tells the system, be in line with what God designed. That's really what melanin does. How it does it, there's a lot of work to be done on that, but partially through this chemical called serotonin and melatonin. One comes out at night, and the one that come out at night, the serotonin, what it tries to do and what it is purported to do, Dr. King refers to it as it allows you to communicate back to your ancestors. It sort of like opens the door so that you can reach into your ancestral realm. He also refers to it as being really the eye of Horus, or what we see in this culture as the all-seeing eye. That this thing allows you to have what the West call psychic vision, because Dr. Hunter Adams says, in the West they say rather, that memory is something that's stored. But Dr. Adams says the human brain is not big enough to store all of the experiences that one have in the course of a lifetime, not even in the course of a half a lifetime. So what Dr. Adams said is that your experiences that we are calling memory occurs when a frame of reference that is familiar to the one that caused the actual incident to happen occurs to you again. Your nervous system relives the initial experience. And it is the reliving of that initial experience that we call memory. And that seems to make more sense in line with if one goes to a voodoo ceremony, and I know you've been made to feel ashamed of voodoo, and I know most of you don't know that the word voodoo simply means God in the African languages out of which it came, and in Haiti the word God took on the meaning of the whole social development, rather than just having one community's name for God as the name for God. That name was given to the whole social development in Haiti that was trying to keep us at one with God. And so we don't understand a lot of what our system and our culture really is about. And it'll make it difficult to really understand what this melanin business is and why there's so much problem with it, because if you understand the melanin, and if you understand that melanin, even in you, its effects can be reduced if you have bad eating habits. Its effects can be reduced if you have bad living habits in terms of sleeping, resting, and that sort of thing. And if you realize that you have a chemical in you that increase your power biologically, psychically, and spiritually, and that you can maintain this chemical by maintaining good biological health and good ethical moral health, if this was a known factor, your behavior would then be determined by your knowledge of this thing. And the fact that you've got this thing, it allows your brain, because the very stem of the brain is black. And there are certain sectors in the brain that light have to go through that the scientists usually refer to as being blue, but it's black, because they don't want to say black, so they say blue. But there's certain sectors that that light coming from the outside has to pass through to be converted into energy in your brain that's black. And that all of the junctions in the human brain that determines the critical translations of information and critical development of the human organism is melanized. That all of the areas where light has to penetrate, the area where sound has its most important interpretation in the air tract is melanized. All of the areas that's critical to the human is melanized. And they know all of this stuff. It's in the book. They use other terms. They'll use terms like blue and gray, and they'll never say black. But all of the white doctors understand the code system for that. They know that I can take the eyes out of a black man and make 20 eyes out of a white person. They've done all these experiments. They've had, like Malcolm's brother-in-law, who was a physician, his sister Ella's husband, who studied at Glasgow, Scotland, because he could pass for a white man, saw the research, how they got a black woman pregnant and a white woman pregnant at the same time, followed the pregnancy through, let the children grow up, raised them under similar circumstances, took care of them, and then killed them at a certain point when they were about 10 or 11 to do the experiments to see who was superior and who wasn't. Okay? This is back in the 20s and 30s. You don't want to think that people do that, but don't forget, Nazi Germany did occur in my lifetime, in many of your lifetime. The experiment at syphilis down in Tuskegee occurred in your lifetime. Okay. What's going on in South Africa is occurring in your lifetime. The starvation in Sudan and Ethiopia is happening in your lifetime, even though you're not being told the truth about why it's occurring. So don't feel like these are some great grand things that can never happen. These things are going on all the time. I remember a few years ago when I could walk out of a bar in Harlem, and, you know, I used to hang out in the bar. I drank a cold beer when I was still a minister. I never thought you had to be deprived. You had to be wise. And I could close my eye at 125th Street and stumble home to 147th and 7th Avenue. I never worried about nobody hurting me. I have a problem moving from the bathroom to the bedroom now without having a pistol on me and the bedroom door locked at night. See, why is that situation? Because somebody decided to take my community. And you need to know this. You know, Nicky Barnes wasn't always there. Nicky Barnes was created by the government. Nicky Barnes was a big dope don who's now in prison who talks. But he was the one that represents the ushering in of the drugs and heavy doses in our community. Him and a guy named Matthews and Johnson and a couple of others. And there was a man named Chancellor Williams who came on Gil Noble's show and said that he had information that the federal government had done this. And his information was in the congressional record where a man named Rosselli testified before Congress in the 70s and told the Congress of the United States on record that there was a meeting held in upstate New York where the police departments of this country and the federal government and state government had decided to declare by, what would you call it, warfare on black people using drugs, chemical warfare on black people using drugs. And he outlined to them how they were going to do it. How they were, since we had driven all the whites out of our neighborhood in the mid-60s, they were going to get black drug dealers, black dope dons, and so forth. They were going to set them up. At that time, nobody in our community drove Mercedes. You might see one every now and then. But they said everybody drives Cadillac, so that's no big deal. So they're going to give the dope dealers Mercedes-Benz, and they were going to start selling the drugs to kids from 7 years on up. And this was something that went before the Congress of the United States. Mr. Rosselli, of course, was found dead 2 weeks later, floating in Key Biscayne Bay after that testimony. But everything he said came true. All those things has happened since then. And I'm saying that so you don't think, because something might sound a bit new, you think it's a grand mystery. And it is not a big mystery, except when you don't know it. Once you know it, the mystery is gone. But to come back to melanin, the fear around melanin is for you to discover that the essence out of which everything is made, that black glob which was formed in the beginning when the sperm and the egg went through that seemingly, if you ever seen it under a microscope, it looks like a nuclear explosion, out of which the human brain and then the spinal cord is the first thing that formed. Then everything else is dictated from there. If you understand the role that your nervous system plays in your total system, that this thing that we call the nervous system, that branches out over every inch of your body, that a melanized nervous system is a more proficient and proficient instrument and signaling system for the organism that it's working in. That if you've got, and it's an information network coming from the very center of your being that tells every single thing in your body what to do. And if you've got melanin, it means that that system in you that we call the nervous system is working much, much, much better than that system in someone who lacks melanin. It means that this chemical has the ability not only to tell your body what to do, but it also has the ability to promote self-healing, in that most of the things that we take as medicine is already produced in the human body. Most physicians do not tell you that what they do is they don't heal you. They try to create a condition in your body that allow you to heal. So what you take medicine for is usually the side effects of your condition that may cause you harm while the body heals itself. But in this culture, you're made to think that you are being healed by the physician. That's not quite true. They're helping you to create the ecology so that you might heal yourself. But they will never tell you that way. But you need to understand it that way, that you heal yourself when you're injured. If I had a gash here, sewing it up and putting antibiotics on there to keep the germs that I've picked up that could go in there from causing me more damage is not healing me. The healing process is happening from within me. They've simply created a condition where that process can take place in a reasonable kind of way. And when you understand that melanin is one of those things and is the main thing that instructs the different quarters on their responsibility in the healing process. That's why when you get cut, what comes there? What's the first thing to form? What color is the scab? It's always black. Billions of melanin run to that site to do their work. And you know they're there because they manifest themselves in the blackness that is there called a scab. You bruise yourself, and a few minutes later, the bruise begins to turn what? Black. The melanin has gotten the word. Get on up there. There's a problem at the knee. There's a problem at the elbow. There's a problem on the wrist. Go there and do what you have to do. So this process of healing both externally and internally, melanin is intricately involved in this process.
The God Squad. 92.6. 91.6 FM.
Okay, London Town, I want to get some feedback on that session there we heard by Dr. Small there, yeah? What I'm going to do, London Town, I'm going to play a few adverts, brothers and sisters, and I'll catch you back up on the other side, yeah? Live lit number to the studio, 0705 008 7426, yeah? Peace, see you in a little while.
This is a Genesis community advert. Are you satisfied with your child's education? If not, then why not send them down to the Ebony Saturday School, now celebrating its 10th year. Ebony Saturday School provides a small group tuition in mathematics and English for children from 3 to 16 years. It also provides diagnostic assessments, dance and drama workshops, preschool workshops, and Black History classes, all taught by trained and dedicated teachers. Ebony schools are situated all over South London. To find out the nearest one to you, ring 01 81 850 6225. That's 01 81 850 6225. Ebony, helping to educate your child. This is Genesis Station, working for the community.
Calling all Nubian sisters. The new millennium is fast and approaching. How shall we prepare the Nubian nation contribute towards making black society better? To find out more, come and be inspired, entertained and educated at the Sister Workshop, 138 Lucian Way Youth and Community Centre, Lucian SE14, from 6 p.m. till late on the last Sunday of each month. Admission £2, videos to be shown and books to be purchased. Creche and refreshments available. Our aims are for the Nubian woman to promote and maintain the right knowledge for herself and her family. Our objectives to achieve self-awareness and positivity and to spread the word. For more information, contact Miss Lil at the Lucian Way Centre on 0181 692 1577. This is a non-profit making organisation.
Briggy's Mental Spiritual Regeneration Show on Genesis 91.6. Genesis 91.6. Genesis 91.6.
I want you to know tonight, mine eyes have seen the glory. I want you to know tonight, mine eyes have seen. I want you to know
the spiritual, mental, physical regeneration show with your host, Briggy.
If the truth were told about our parents suffering in this Western world,
I want you to know tonight,
it would make the brass monkey shake.
I want you to know tonight,
freedom is not something that you can write.
I want you to know tonight,
Mental Spiritual Regeneration.
But I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
When you listen to the Black Spiritual Mental Regeneration Show, listen with an open mind.
So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the
Briggy's Mental Spiritual Regeneration Show on Genesis 91.1.
Okay, London time 0705 0087426. Yeah, the caller that's called, call back again. Don't feel no way. Okay. Anyway, London time. What do you think about the tape that you've heard there so far, London time? What do you think about that session there? Hey, London time. Hey, London time. Sleeping London time. Okay, London time. What do you think about the session you've heard there? Hey, London time. Okay, driver.
Well, London Town, you know, it's feedback time, so we want to know, were you enlightened, or did you know everything already? If so, what was you doing listening to Genesis? Anyway, London Town, we want to know what you thought of the tape. 0705 0087426. Because, you know, there's a lot of information there, London Town, you know, while the tape was rolling, me and the OG was, you know, reasoning differently, saying, well, boy, some of these things, you know, especially like, you know, on that last piece when it's talking about, you know, the scab when you cut yourself. Check it out, London Town. Don't just look up on yourself. Look at others around you, other races that's around you when they have scabs. I mean, what color do their scabs turn? You know, check out certain things that he's got to say, because, you know, he's giving you facts. He's not making it up, London Town. He's giving you facts. You know, maybe there's some of you out there who probably know a bit more, certain other things that he didn't actually draw attention to, but, you know, I felt within myself that he covered it. He definitely covered it. What do you say, OG?
For real, London Town, this is feedback, jeez. Yeah, this is feedback, because you've got this. At the end of the day now, yeah, you have to feed me back, jeez. You know what I mean? Then we can communicate, we can roll forward, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, London Town, you know, we do take time out for you understand what I'm saying? We go out there, we dig deep and find some of the good tapes for you, educational tapes and everything like that. We work hard, you know I don't need to go into one. You don't have to go, we do this, come on now, understand? From feedback. I don't care anybody, any nation, just phone in right now and just give us feedback on a session of the tape. Or if not, basically on the time, we just keep on rolling still, yeah? You want us to keep on rolling? If we do, just phone the number, G, and I'll just keep on rolling basically, yeah? At 0705 0087426, yeah? Okay, do you have anything else to London?
Boy, all I'm saying is just want the feedback. Trust me, London town, come on, what's wrong with you? I mean, previously while the tape was running, the phone was ringing. You get me? So what's going on? You know, it's like I pointed out, you know, we are gods and goddesses. So we're supposed to, any certain decisions that we make, we have to be prepared for the reaction that comes with it. You know, obviously if you can't deal with the reaction, you don't make the decision. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. But we want you to feedback, even if it's just something small, you know, certain things that you didn't fully understand. I mean, you know, if we can't answer it, then we have to look in it and then find out why I'll go on and get back to you. That's how it goes. We're not saying we know everything London town. We just want you to feed back to us and let us know what you thought of that tape that was just played. Because we had a few callers last week also that said, yeah, well, you know, that tape was strong. So we want to know, what are you saying, London town? We've got live caller. We're going to take that. Good evening, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, this is Kwame from Lewisham.
Okay, blood, you're live?
Yeah, that's right. I just got in myself and I heard a little bit of the tape. You know, and great stuff, man. You know what I'm saying to you? There's a lot of things I didn't know about this melanin and stuff like that, yeah? And by listening to just the end part of the tape, I learned something, you know?
Okay, so what did you actually learn, brother?
Oh, about when you cut yourself and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I still have to, I recorded it, I have to play it properly and then, you know, go through it. You know, but I'm just calling to let you know that, you know, it's nice to hear things like that, you know. I mean, a lot of those things have been hitting from us, you know.
So let me ask you something, brother. From the little piece that you heard, I mean, because with some people they can only hear a small piece, some have to hear a lot. Did that cause an effect on your mind in any way whatsoever?
A little bit.
And in what sense? I mean, did it give you like the urge to really want to go out there and find out more, or?
Oh, that's right, yeah. To get, you know, more information, books, etc., you know, about this thing, melanin, you know, and look into it and read about it and see what it does and what is it about, you know.
Because there was also, like I was saying to the OG, there was a couple of programs on in the week about basically the same sort of thing, but what it was is the Europeans, they were training dogs to sniff out cancers, and you know, because obviously they suffer from the skin cancer, you know, to do it, you know, the sun and everything. So basically they're training the dogs to, you know, sniff that out, and they've actually succeeded in it. All they're looking for right now is funding.
Well, I never knew.
Yeah, well, you know, there's all sorts of information of the sort of things and the pressures that, you know, are going on around us. But like, on the tape it was said, because we've got it, we take it for granted. There's nothing that we've got that we take for granted.
That's
Whereas
right.
if we looked upon it as if we didn't have it, or we didn't rely on it so much, then we would tend to appreciate it a bit more.
That's true, that's true. And there's a lot of people out there who don't even know about this thing here, you know, about the melanin and a lot of things we don't know about. And by listening to Genesis, I mean, I'm getting all these information, you know what I'm saying to you? I'm getting all this information. I'm going to go out there and research and get the books and, you know, find out more about a whole bunch of things. Just a lot of things, not just melanin, but...
All right, brother. Respect to that for real. What you do when you find out the information, you just make sure you phone back and you just pass the information on, yeah?
All right, man. Keep up the good work, man.
Each one to teach one. Peace, blood.
Yeah, you too.
Peace. This is Showing AG, dealing with all aspects of life, the physical, the spiritual, and the mental, on the Regeneration Show with my man Briggy, and this is how we do, straight from the Boogie Down Bronx.
Okay, London Town, a nice brother there, phoned in, okay, said his thing. Okay, London Town, it's all good, yeah? We're here for you, London Town, yeah? That's it. The brother only caught a little bit, but he took time and he phoned in. You know what I'm saying, London Town? 0705 0087426, yeah? Also, Sister Louise called in earlier on. Sister Louise was mentioning something about what's the name of the podcast? Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what, the phone's ringing right London Town, yeah, but we'll get back to that, Sister Louise, yeah? Okay, alright. Hello, Genesis Radio?
Hello?
Hello.
Sorry, a bit loud.
Okay. What's your name? Where you calling from, sis?
Susan from Blackheath.
Okay.
And the tape that I heard was brilliant. At the moment, I'm reading a book about Melanin, the Key to Freedom.
Okay.
And what the man said on the tape explained a lot of the book, because I wasn't really understanding it, but it was, what he said was excellent. He confirmed the day and the night melatonin and the other one, about how the brain works and the mind at night, and how it can be found in plants, and the whole thing, our bodies, black people, is connected with the earth, and I truthfully believe in that. One point I wanted to make was, is it possible to get that tape? Because I'd like my child to hear that, because she's in bed at the moment, but I think she should hear it. She's only 9, and I think she should understand that as well. As a black person growing up in this society, you should know where you're coming from to know where you're going, and melanin is a key to our freedom, and we have to know this. All right.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Sis, okay. If you like to get in contact with us at the end of the show, you can phone the number. We can hook you up with it. We'll copy the tapes to sis, yeah?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Nice one,
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Enough respect. Okay, London Town. All I want still is reasoning. We're saying, yeah, this melanin thing still, London Town. It's not a thing for everybody to like trip on and say, "True, we got melanin. That's it. We must disrespect other nations and stuff like that." Still, you know what I'm saying? All right, we're gonna still keep on rolling. Okay, hello, Genesis Radio. Hello. Hello, Genesis. Okay. Person put the phone down. Okay, London Town. 0705008726 London Town. Okay. We're just rolling, yeah? All right, we'll take this call. Hello, Genesis Radio.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. A piece on that tape you had, I got a bit confused at one point, because the part he was explaining about the body healing itself. Yeah. For example, I had tonsillitis, and I was trying to grasp what he meant by, for example, taking antibiotics, thinking that you're healing yourself, whereas your body's already doing it.
Yeah, well, I think on more than a level, like, you know, like if you got a cut, sister, on your, and just a little cut, you know, like the body can heal itself. You know, it's got the mechanism to heal itself.
Fine, but I just wanted to...
You're talking like a big gash or like a gunshot wound and things like that. You can't heal yourself.
Right. Okay. So, for example, then, because my tonsils did not look as if any melanin was coming near it.
Okay, sis. Okay, I don't know about that one there, sister. Yeah.
Okay.
All right then. Oh no, wait there. What's your name? Oh, she's good. Do you want to say something, quickly?
Yeah, what I was going to say to that sister still is also, he pointed out, is also to do with what we put into our bodies as well. Because obviously, if we put X amount of junk food in our body, it's going to delay the process of our natural healing. Basically, what I gathered from what he was saying is when you take certain drugs, instead of actually healing yourself straight away, there's a delay. Because your body's got to tend with something else which has been put into the system, so it just causes a delay in that aspect. But you eventually do heal yourself, but you know, it just takes longer. So obviously, if we eat proper food, you know, put the right things into our body and we look after ourselves, then obviously there's quite a few of us out there who don't even have to go and see a doctor. They've got a doctor and their record is literally clean. You know, the doctor's just there for name's sake. It's all dependent on how we live and treat ourselves. So London Town, 0705 0087426. just to touch up on what the OG was saying earlier when we was discussing, because we were saying, you know, this information is not, you know, for people to go out there and start tripping. All it is just re-establishing what we already know about ourselves. It's just for us. It's personal. Okay, we've got a caller. We're going to take this call. Yeah. Good evening, caller.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Donovan from Brixton.
Yes, Donovan.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah.
And to Briggy.
All right.
Nice show tonight, you know, Briggy, man.
What's that, G?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you right though, D, yeah?
Yeah.
When are you going to come in the studio and give us a little visit, G?
Wait a minute, I just turn the phone down. I mean, the radio down. What you say?
When are you going to come down and give us a visit in the studio?
Yeah, hopefully the next few weeks, you know. It's just that I'm kind of tied up doing some things, you know. But I'm always listening to you, and I get enough information tonight. And I would like to make my respect known to the station and everybody there, especially you, you know. I'll get enough information off of that tape, what you're saying about my the nervous systems and about the food to eat and all the things that you're doing, hopefully will make me strive to live a better life, you know?
Yeah, well, for real still, D, for once we eat the right foods, G, and we exercise, take care of ourselves, yeah, we don't really need to go see the doctors. Only less they drop, like, you know, chemical warfare, madness on it, or something like that, you know what I'm saying, G?
Yeah, because that's what I'm kind of realising about myself, because, like, just as Driver was saying, I've like, got a doctor, and I've actually got a clean record there as well, you know? It's just I don't really go and see him because I don't really get no sickness, and making me realise things about myself and making me feel better, and hopefully I'm going to, like, strive to be a better person, you know?
Real G. Hey, D, how's the radio station getting on?
Say that again?
How's your show getting on the radio? On is it, what station is it again, G?
Lightning.
Lightning FM, yeah. Big up all the Lightning FM crew out there.
Yeah, big up to everybody out there, and the management.
Everything's getting on, Chris, yeah?
Yeah, well, I'm still, like, learning, you know? I mean, and, like, hopefully, maybe be able to model myself in you know?
Yeah, D, just tell London Town the times when you're on and everything like that so they know, yeah?
Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. and Tuesday, hopefully between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. That's on Lightning Radio, 90.8.
Yeah, what's the name of the show, G?
My one will be The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Something to do, like, hopefully be able to reach the next generation and let them get all this information that's vital to everybody. And the one on Tuesday evening is two DJs, Fat Neck and DJ Stone, and then in between that, between the music, me and brother from the Holy Tabernacle, Brother Melanin, do a lot of questions and answers. I ask him a few questions and he gives the answers. And you know what I mean? It's all kind of learned. Just grateful for the position that I've been placed in, you know?
For real, G. That's what it's all about, G, yeah?
Yeah. So I'll come up and see you very soon, you know?
All right then, brother D, yeah? You
sort
take
things
care.
out, yeah?
Yeah.
And keep up the good works, yeah?
Yes,
and the driver.
Yeah,
and
too,
to
brother, yeah?
Big T.
Yeah.
Yeah, respect to him every time, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody on the station, yeah?
All right then, bud. You take care,
peace.
D.
And keep up the good work, Briggy, yeah?
Yeah.
Respect.
You take care, God.
Yo, Og Briggy's in the house, and guess what? Playtime is definitely over. Frankie Pine says so. You hear?
Okay, we've got another live. We're going to take this live thing. Hello, Genesis Radio?
OJ,
Yo.
take me off leave, quick.
Huh?
Quick.
What, take you off?
Yeah,
Nah, sis, man, come on.
quick.
Come on. Just say what you're saying, sis.
No, you know what, yeah?
Go on then.
You can't down come out short gone like you want. The program that you was asking the people them what it was all about was the London program.
Yeah.
Ask the people them what them think about that. Me hang up my phone now.
Okay, sis, yeah.
Big up here and big up Driver.
Yeah. Okay, London Town. Sister there said, what do you think about the London program? To be quite honest on the time, yeah, I never actually got to watch that program myself, yeah. So I can't really comment about the actual program itself. But circumstances and everything that surrounds it, yeah, G. Okay, we're going to take this live in. Hello, Genesis Radio.
Hello?
Yo, what's your name? Where you calling from? Hello, blood. What's your name? Where you calling
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
What's your name and where you calling from, blood?
Hello?
Hello, blood, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Turn up your radio,
Hello?
blood. Turn up your radio. Turn up your radio.
Hello?
Turn up your radio,
Hello?
blood. Turn your radio up.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, blood, turn your radio up, please. Turn your radio up and you can hear
Hello?
me.
Hello?
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 Hello, blood?
Hello?
Yeah, can you turn your radio up?
Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Turn off the radio, Pamela.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear?
Hello?
Okay, we're gonna have to cut this line. Blood, you're gonna have to phone back. All right, we'll cut anyway. Okay, London Town, if some of you may not be able to get through clearly on, or you can't hear us, you'll have to turn your radio up just slightly so you can hear us in the background, okay? All right, it's 070500874426. Also, the brother pointed out London Town, for those of you, did you acknowledge that the flu itself is a virus? All right, check that out, London Town. It's a virus, okay? OG?
Most definitely, coming like herpes. Goes and comes. Okay, London Town here, 070500874426 here. You heard the sister there, London Town. Can anybody phone up and talk to us about what happened basically on the London program? I like to get some feedback on it. I'd like to hear, to be quite honest, yeah. And I know there's brothers and sisters out there who actually saw the program, yeah. Okay, we've got another live link. Remember, brothers and sisters, yeah, turn up your radio a little bit, yeah, if you can't hear us, yeah. I will take this one. Hello, Genesis Radio. Hello, Genesis.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me, brother, yeah?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me, brother? Turn up your radio, blood.
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
I find that this program is very interesting. Could you run that tape again for me, please?
Oh, brother, man, I tell you, it's terrible, isn't it? I tell you, man, communications, G. We should go back to the God's way. Okay. Yeah, brother, we'll sort that out for you anyway, yeah? Anyway, you still there, brother? He's gone, yeah? Anyway, London Town, yeah, any more input, yeah, before I continue with another tape, basically, London Town, yeah? I'll keep the line up until the top of the hour, basically, if you want it, yeah? 070500874426. What? Nobody knows the London program. Okay, hopefully we can get this live link here, right? Hello, Genesis Radio. Hello, Genesis Radio.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me, sis?
Yeah, it's Karen from Catford.
Okay, nice one, Karen.
All right. I think it was a very good tape. I have heard Professor Small speak before, and he had another person speaking with him at the same venue when I attended a conference. It's called Patricia Newson. She's written an article on the same thing. Melanin is a very complicated chemical, and the important thing to point out is that we can actually work on reproducing it to make ourselves stronger, and the actual significance for it on our immune system as well. And I remember in the article that I read by Patricia Newton, she talks about, similar things to Dr. Small in terms of the kind of foods that you can use to reproduce it, like dark green vegetables, and when you think about things like callaloo, what, comes from the Caribbean, it's something that we've been always reproducing, and also sunlight. It's really important for us to get back to the sun, so leaving this country and actually going away and getting a good burst of sun is really of great significance to us.
Okay, so I was going to say something. Okay, so sis, yeah, so what do you think, yeah, people think, yeah, who ain't got melanin in them?
People, sorry?
What do you think about the ones who haven't got melanin in them? What do you think?
I think everybody has got melanin, but it's about the proportion that you have inside of you.
obviously Caucasians have less, and that what I always try and use to give people motivation about themselves who suffer from poor self-esteem, because us as a people, we tend to be brainwashed to some extent, and we're focusing on the light skin and the hair and all of that kind of stuff. And for youths growing up, it's really damaging. So what I try and do when I get youths together, and those people that are commenting on beauty are usually relying on those ones that are, have the so-called light skin features and the long and the straighter hair. But those are not the ones that have the higher concentration of melanin. The ones that have got the higher concentration of melanin have the darker skin.
Sister,
and sorry?
Sister, do you believe that there's black people that they actually believe that white people don't come from black people, or white people that they actually believe that they don't come from black people?
So, yeah, there are white people who believe that, and there's black people that believe it, but those people are ignorant. They're suffering from ignorance, and without opening up their minds and actually looking at factual information and being able to receive it, they're not going to be able to develop their process of thinking. But when it comes down to it, it's a fact, scientific fact, that the first record of people on the earth were Nubians. So, there's no doubt about that. But the other interesting thing about the melanin is how much it's being marketed now. If you look, there's creams, it might not even say it in the title of the product, the name of the product, but the actual ingredients, there's some creams in terms of aging creams that they're using now to actually preserve people's skin, And the other interesting thing is, look at a white person and a black person and the way they age.
Some big difference.
And it's not coincidental that a black person looks a lot younger. If you compare a 60-year-old black woman to a 60-year-old white woman, it's not coincidental. It's the melanin.
For real, still, sis. Anyway, yeah?
Yeah?
Thanks for your contribution still, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, enough respect to the max, yeah?
Okay, all right,
Hope
peace.
to be seeing you soon, yeah?
Okay, bye.
Whenever I'm in London City, I listen to Og Briggy with Conscious Vibes for the youths of the days. Yeah!
Okay, we've got a live link here. Good evening, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hello? Hello, caller. Caller, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello? Yeah, you're going to have to turn your radio up a little. Okay. Okay, that last caller, could you try again? Just turn your radio up slightly, because you definitely hear the conversation that's taking place. Right, we've got a few more minutes. 0705 0087 feedback time. Just want your feedback before we roll into another tape. Okay, looks like we've got another call coming through. Good evening, caller. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
You're gonna have to, just a little. Turn it down just a little.
Hello?
Hello? You're gonna have to turn your radio down a little.
Yeah, that's coming. Hello?
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 Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, turn your radio down just a little bit, yeah?
Can't do that,
Yeah, can you hear?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yo, what I wanted to do is to play that tape that this tape again that I hear a bit more. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, my brother, we're going to do that, yeah? We're going to do that now, yeah? Okay. Anyway, London Town, the top of the hour. Okay, I'm going to get some ad breaks. And then what I'll do, brothers and sisters, yeah, I'll catch you lot back up on the other side. Yeah, most definitely.